What up, YouTube world? It's your boy Zico here again, back with some more reviews from when men turns from simps to pimp. You know what to do. Like, subscribe, comment. Let's get into it.
You know, I have to applaud Janet to a certain degree because I think men have lost their rights. In certain issues, domestic violence, sexual issues, you are guilty.
Called the Violence Against Women Act, not the Violence Against Family Members Act.
And I mean, that's not right. And so these are horrible problems that exist, and many times men are at fault, but we just assume that men are guilty without any proof.
Men can accuse women of domestic violence as well and play falsely. And
exactly. So that is the point. That is the point that I'm trying to make. That all those issues can work both ways.
Right. That's the point, Doctor. That gender isn't going to tell you anything about who's being falsely accused, who's guilty of domestic violence, who's guilty of initiating a divorce. Gender doesn't tell you anything meaningful about that. I'm not oppressed just because I'm a woman.
Right.
Lots of men are oppressed in some very real ways. Gender doesn't give you a significant way to understand those issues. We need a bigger, broader, more inclusive, more human way to tackle these issues.
You got to give respect to this lady in the red dress. She's speaking nothing but the truth. You see, the thing is that when it comes to the new feminist movement, it means to destroy men and uplift women. They don't talk about equality. I mean, look at the definition of feminism: the advocacy of women's rights on the basis of equality of the sexes. Yet today, based off statistics, 93% of workplace fatalities are men. 4 out of 5 suicides are men. Men are sentenced to 63% more prison time than women for the same offense. And this doesn't even go with child support and family court offenses. Unfortunately, this is why men are speaking up now, because the system is broken and it needs to be fixed.
All the longitudinal studies that we're aware of show that women do not improve corporate financial performance. It's really clear.
Well, that's interesting, because you'll pick your studies, and those that are in support of you will pick theirs that actually suggest profitability does increase.
I'm sorry, Fran, it doesn't. Everything that they present studies which show correlation, and correlation is not causation. It's kind of statistics 101. And it's why nobody in the world challenges our assertion which is that women do not improve corporate financial performance. And we have been challenging people for 3 years on this.
Okay. Would you like to keep them out of the boardroom?
Of course not. No, sorry, Fran. That is a shaming tactic. The idea that I would want to keep women out of the boardroom. Why would you resort to a shaming tactic?
Well, why would you bring up the fact that people are saying that women are an advantage in a boardroom when you're saying they're not? I mean,
but they're not. But the facts say they're not. In fact, 5 longitudinal studies that I presented to inquiries of the House of Commons and House of Lords show international studies show that when you increase the proportion of women on corporate boards, on average, corporate financial performance declines. It's really black and white.
Oh, roger that. We're a little low on fuel.
Now, this guy, Michael Buchanan, he's a savage. He's one of the founders of the Justice for Men and Boys in the United Kingdom. He's also a media commentator for men's rights movement. And so what they're discussing is this debate that's going on women being in the boardroom. Now, there was a report called the McKinsey report back in 2007 in terms of Women Matters, as frequent cited by proponents of the improved gender diversity in the boardroom. And the statistics shows that the companies with a higher proportion of women on their management committees are also the companies that have the best performance. But there's one problem. They do not demonstrate a causal link. This is where Michael Buchanan referred to an independent study that did show the causal relationship between gender diversity in the boardroom and corporate performance, and unfortunately it was negative. The outcome of the move led to younger and less experienced boards, increase in leverage and acquisitions, and deterioration in operating performance consistent with less capable boards. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying women should not be in the boardroom, but what I am saying is the facts are the facts.
There's so much talk about a woman's body, her choice, and that. Yeah. My question is, if we give a woman the right to opt out of motherhood, should we also give a man the right to opt out of fatherhood and 18 years of child support?
I agree. You don't agree?
No, I don't know.
But if a mom walks into an abortion clinic and says, you know what, I'm not feeling this, and gets an abortion, the dad has no say. How come this mom can't? Let's just say it's a one-night stand, just hypothetical, and the mom comes back to the dad and is like, hey, I'm pregnant. Why can't he opt out if she was able to say, hey, I don't want this baby? It's a double standard.
Well, he could obviously sign his rights away, but he cannot physically.
He can't sign his rights away because he has to pay child support. I mean, he is legally bound by child support.
That's just the way it is.
Returning to base.
I know, but do you think it's right?
You can't tell a woman to have an abortion. Like, that's it.
I know, but do you think it's right that a mom can say, I don't want this baby, but a dad never can?
I mean, I just think that's just the way it is.
But do you think it's right? Yes
mean,
or no? Gun to your head. I don't think it's right. I think the whole system's fine.
We spend so much time talking about a woman's choice.
Right, but the man doesn't have one.
But my only point is, what reproductive rights does a man have?
None.
Oh man, you just can't make this up. And people wonder why men are staying single and focusing on themselves. Now, don't get me wrong. There are good women out there. There's many good women out there. But there's girls like this to the right you want to be careful of. Any woman who thinks that it's okay for a man who doesn't have any reproductive rights to be taken advantage of, such as this, is not the one that you should marry. As men, we got to do better in picking the right woman, because at the end of the day, it's your choice. You choose who you want to be with, so you got to make better decisions. Wrap it up or get a prenup.
I grew up in an atmosphere where I realized that having a single mom, no man around, was the norm. But as I grew up, I also started to understand a lot of the children from those environments did not do well. They didn't do well in life, they didn't do well in relationships, they didn't do well in parenting. They just didn't do well because they couldn't function, because they didn't see the dynamic of two people trying to make something happen. Because if you think about it, in a single parent household, the person who's the single parent is a dictator. If they just don't want you to learn math, you won't learn math. One of the greatest movies I love that addresses this is The Water Boy. The Water Boy had a single mom who decided to be lord over his life and wouldn't let him learn anything and wanted to basically ruin his life. Now, she woke up at the end, but the whole part was, well, we got rid of the father and we don't need the father. And there's too many places out there where people say they don't need the father. So I wanted to address that, because fathers' rights in America are none. Like, no one cares that a father's put in jail for not paying child support, but the woman can have a credit score of 200. So she owes everyone, but she doesn't go to jail for it. But this guy, who may have not wanted the child in the first place, when the woman gets the option to have the child. I just wanted to address a lot of things from a man's standpoint that a lot of people won't address.
Look, having both parents in the child's life is important. It's essential. No one will argue that one parent should only have custody unless it's in the immediate and long-term detriment for the child. But other than that, most courts will give joint custody. But when it comes to child support, you have to keep in mind, the vast majority of child support payers are men. Men. And the vast majority of those individuals in jail for not paying child support are men. Now look, I'm not saying that you should not pay child support. I believe that it's very difficult and challenging for any one parent to take care of a child by themselves. However, there's instances out there where child support is being used as a weapon. Now, how the hell is that going to be in the child's best interest?
It's definitely blown.
Being blown doesn't sound so bad now, does it?
Oh, it's bad. It's going to cost you $2,000 at least to fix. Not to mention your brake pads are completely bald.
I've got something else that's completely bald.
Your tires. Yeah, I saw that. I think you could ride those puppies out for another 10,000 miles.
I bet you've got something I could ride for 10,000 miles.
Nope. The shop does not provide transportation while working on your vehicle. You can contact your insurance provider, though. They'll get you a vehicle.
Stay focused on your purpose. And just in case you don't, just always ask yourself this one question: is the child support worth it?